Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Buzz. Trevor here, joined by Thomas as always, and we have our final recap of what is going on at the Venice International Film Festival. We are still going to do reactions to the Venice winners, which will be very fun, as well as a bit of a look back, a ranking of all of the things that premiered at both Venice and Telluride, all of the big contenders. And just a bit of an overview about what we think all of their awards chances are. But we have our last couple things to talk about.
We do indeed. And big things as well.
Briefly, I'll just touch on The Eternal Daughter. Joanne Hogg's latest. It's on a 73 on Metacritic. It started out very strong, fell a bit. I'm excited for it. I like Joanne Hogg a lot, but this would have had to get 95 plus for this to be in consideration. Which is unfortunate because Joanne Hogg is a great filmmaker, but some filmmakers are just immediately going to get prioritized over others. But let's talk about The Son and Blonde. The Son coming from Florian Zeller, Blonde from Dominik, starring Hugh Jackman and Ana de Armas, and potentially Oscar contending roles for both of them. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about The Son. That happened first. Really divisive. Really divisive movie. Honestly, more divisive than Blonde, which is not what I was expecting.
No, yeah.
That kind of took me by surprise. So The Son, it's on a 67 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 65 on Metacritic. Very, very mixed. Not bad, but mixed. And this isn't the type of thing that can get in off of being mixed.
No, if it's mixed, it's forgettable, and that's the problem.
Yep. This isn't going to be insanely, again, you all say don't look up. This isn't going to be insanely popular. Okay.
No.
To get low scores like this, you have to get you have to be a very popular movie that gets ridiculously high audience scores. People aren't going to care about it.
No.
It would have needed that critics push just like The Father did. The Father got an 88 on Metacritic, and it's in the upper 90s, I think a 97 or something on Rotten Tomatoes. This is just very much not that. People are leaning mixed positive. It's divisive, and Zen McGrath is getting trashed.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy, but apparently he's been miscast, as have the whole cast apparently. But it is what it is. Some people just not cut out for certain roles.
Yeah. I've been hearing that it's you can see some of the heart shine through, but it's just so surface level and forgettable.
Right. Yeah.
It's just it's a movie that you watch and then forget about, which is just it's so not what The Father was.
No, it's very, very interesting.
And the performances from Hugh Jackman and Laura Dern have been the two that I've been seeing highlighted. I've been seeing Dern more than Kirby, which is interesting.
Because we had Kirby stronger than Dern for a lot of the time. But that's clearly changed, though. That has changed, I'd say.
Yeah, I've been seeing Dern a bit more than Kirby, but all three of them I've just heard are miscast. Jackman does seem to be quite good. Not winning good, especially with the mixed reception of the movie, but he seems to have been quite good. The supporting actresses feel muddled, and I have not heard a peep about Anthony Hopkins. And the only things I've heard about Zen McGrath were not
bad.
Good. Yeah. So what do we do? Because and let's keep in mind, the other big Best Actor contender right now, Brendan Fraser, his movie on Metacritic, also not that good. It's at a 69. That's been dropping on Metacritic, especially after the TIFF premiere, which is going on right now. So both of our potential Best Actor contenders not doing too hot as far as their movies, but I've heard their performances are both good. Fraser feels stronger, just nowhere near the reception for Jackman that Fraser got. But this is making me feel Butler.
Well, as we said before recording, I still have Fraser. There's a lot of passion there behind his performance. I think the narrative is very strong. He's doing the whole transformation thing. I think there's a lot of pros when it comes to Brendan Fraser in the
And I would also argue that Butler's doing the transformation thing, and there's a lot of passion behind him. And I think that he is in the strongest Best Picture contender of any of those three.
He is. I will not deny that Elvis is a stronger Best Picture contender than The Son or The Whale. But I don't know. Brendan Fraser just feels like an Oscar winner. This feels like Brendan Fraser's time, whereas Austin Butler, he's a lot younger. So
But I
May
would
feel
also
like
argue that we could have a Rami Malek situation where you had Christian Bale, who was in a bunch of makeup, and you had Bradley Cooper, who had the narrative and everybody wanted to win. And then Rami Malek just does a musical biopic, blows people away, even though I didn't think the performance was that great. And he wins the Globe and just ends up going all the way. I could see the same thing happening for Butler. I honestly really could. So
yeah, but also like you think about Elvis, it was a summer movie. Will there be as much passion
was
come award
Bohemian
season?
Rhapsody.
Yeah, I know, but like I don't know. I think Brendan Fraser makes sense. He makes sense. Whereas Butler to
I
me
agree, and I
feels
also
like
think Butler makes sense. I think Jackman's down to number 3 right now. I
I would
think
agree with that. Actually, I'd maybe even it's hard to say, but like
Daryl
I
might
don't
be
even
stronger. Daryl
I
might
don't
be.
even think yeah exactly. I don't even think Hugh Jackman is a like guaranteed
No,
nomination.
he's
I
not a
could
lock
very
to
easily
be in.
see yeah they just want to completely ignore the sun. That's fine. I could see that happening. So
I
yeah.
could also see the Sun being completely ignored. We're talking about. I don't think it will happen, but Sony has the option to completely switch over to Living, which is getting much better reviews and would be
Mm.
contending in the same categories, actor and adapted screenplay, ignoring supporting actors, obviously. So like that would be interesting, but like yeah, the Sun just is not going to stick around in people's minds. I don't even know if this is an adapted screenplay anymore.
No, it's hard to judge with a category like adapted screenplay because there is a lot that is sort of on the bubble. Like we know Women Talking is in, it's probably going to win at this point. Like I
Yeah.
could see as I say, like maybe if you want to spread the love, something else comes towards.
If Banshees is
Yeah,
in, then yeah.
exactly. It'll be Banshees, but that we don't know, so it's hard to judge there. But then you've got things like Living, The Whale, She Said, The Sun. They're all sort of on this sort of bubble, Glass Onion as well.
Yeah.
So it's a very hard category to sort of grasp onto at this point. So I
Yeah.
could see The Sun getting, but equally, if it's on the bubble and they want to just ignore it, I could equally see that happening and it just drops off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm still excited for this just because of how much I loved The Father.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
it's dampened my expectations just with how I don't know. We said that the trailer looked a bit underwhelming and dull, and it seems
Yeah.
like the
It
movie
just
is
looks
just
quite
that.
baity, like melodramatic is a word I've heard a lot
Yeah.
thrown around a lot with this film. And yeah, it just feels like a real departure from The Father, like
Yeah.
which is weird, but you know, it's not even going to be close to any sort of tech things. Like The Father obviously did get a couple, so that definitely
Editing,
helped.
production design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this just not going to have that. So this was a film that was basically just riding off of will it have enough above the line stuff to push it
Yep.
into the thing, and it doesn't look like it will at this point. I think supporting actress, especially with how stacked it's become, things like both well actresses are in the conversation. Both women talking actresses are in the conversation. Michelle Williams is always there. Stephanie Sue. It's a very stacked category. I could very easily therefore see just neither of the people from the Sun getting like
Yeah,
maybe
I
yeah.
would be tempted to drop them both off. I'm tempted to
I'd
say
drop
that
them
this
both
is
off.
just Jackman.
Yeah, that would be where I'm leaning towards at the moment because I do think Jackman currently I still have him in. As I say, I could see him dropping off, but like supporting actress, I don't think it's happening. And adapted, I'm gonna have to really think about that one though.
Yeah,
Wherever I
because
put
like
him.
my lineup right now in supporting actress looks like this. I have Williams winning still, and then I have Foy and Buckley both in, and then I have Sadie Sink in, and then I have Carrie Condon in for the Banshees of Inisherin because she's
Yeah,
been cited
Carrie
as
Condon as well.
standout.
Yeah,
So
plus
like
Nina Hoss as well is
Nina
still
Haas.
there. If
So
Tar
then
is
yeah, so
big,
then
so
my next 10, yeah, because Stephanie Sue is still there. Hong Chow, I think, could also very much happen for the Whale. Nina Haas for Tar. Somebody from She Said is still
yeah,
there.
she said as well.
And then I have this both Kirby and Dern from the Sun just
Yeah.
outside. I could still see them happening.
I think Dern would be the one.
We'll
Yeah,
see how
but
this plays at TIFF. We'll see how this plays at TIFF.
yeah,
But
I would assume it's slightly more of a TIFF thing than a Venice thing. So yeah, I
yeah,
could maybe, but I don't think we'll have enough of a bump up to really propel itself back into the conversation.
yeah. So yeah. I'm very curious. I'm very curious. So yeah, but disappointing about the Sun. Disappointing. But
It
let's
is.
move on to Blonde.
Yeah.
And we talked about standing ovations, I think, before we started recording, and they're a bit silly. Blonde
They
has
are.
the biggest standing ovation of Venice.
Yeah, it is also the final film though, or one of the last
Well,
films. So you know, all of the excitement therefore. I
yeah,
can see why maybe a film like this would have a standing ovation like that. So I wouldn't read too much
they
into
don't
it.
matter. Like we don't need to focus
Yeah.
on standing ovation.
Like everyone at the end of the festival go, yes, for all the films, and it's just Blonde that sort of
I mean, there's
got
still
it.
2 more days of Venice as of
Yeah,
recording.
but there's only it's only no bears, right? That's really
That's
the
the big
main
thing, I guess.
thing. And that's even not really a big thing. So like
Yeah.
this for many signals the end of Venice.
Yeah, but it's at a 63 on Metacritic. Not great. It's fine. Around the same as like things like The Sun, a bit higher than things like Empire of Light and Bardo. It's just interesting to take into consideration. It's on an 82 on Rotten Tomatoes, Thomas.
Yeah, because the thing is, and this is very interesting, it's not been polarizing. It's been a lot of people seem to be going, yeah, 6, 7, 8 out of 10, which is not what we expected at all for this film. But it may help it stay in the sort of conversation for actress, cinematography as well.
Like,
as
there are
it's black
there are
and
no
white.
negative reviews on Metacritic. There's 7
No.
positive and 8 mixed.
Yeah.
I think that Ana de Armas still needs to be in the conversation for actress. Every single review has said that she is like incredible. Like that she is,
as shown by the
stunning.
trailer, like she looks amazing in that film.
Yeah.
So
And the worry was that if this film was just so polarizing, and like, yes, it's only at a 63, but like 82 on Rotten Tomatoes is still pretty good. It's been it got a 100. I mean, even the negative reviews are saying just how just incredible Ana de Armas is. Like, she just has like an insane screen presence. Even the lowest review, which is at a 40, is saying that Ana de Armas is sensational and poignant. Like, everybody's loving Ana de Armas. Like, the 14-minute standing ovation was all for her.
Yeah. Plus,
I don't know.
She's Ana de Armas. Like, people do seem to really like Ana de Armas, which is another thing that will hopefully sort of propel her a bit more into the conversation we already have her in. Like we mentioned before, actress is quite stacked. There's a couple things on the bubble that, you know, Deadweiler, we don't have her in. She could just very well be in. But I put Ana de Armas on the bubble currently. Maybe
she's my number 7. So like the 5 that I think almost everybody I've seen having in is Blanchett, Robbie, Yo, Coleman, and Aki. They feel like
I think that's a solid 5 at the moment.
Yeah. Deadweiler, I think, is most people's 6. I think Ana de Armas needs to be your number 7. Like, yes, you have somebody from She Said, whether that be Mulligan or Kassan. If they even do a lead performance, they might campaign them both supporting. And then after that, what do you have? You have Emma Thompson, you have Jennifer Lawrence, you have Viola Davis, Regina King. Like, what do you have? I think Ana de Armas is still number 7. The other thing that I will say is now she's pretty much Netflix's only leading actor push. They aren't like Adam Driver is not going to be a thing in White Noise. Daniel Jimenez Cacho is not going to be a thing.
We could say Daniel Craig there, but you know,
no,
definitely not. But
you say like, that. And Netflix pretty consistently gets a lead actor in. So I wouldn't put Ana de Armas in. Like, this is still NC-17. There's still like it's not like this movie was well reviewed. It's worse reviewed than The Sun. However, like, nothing but raves for this performance. Even when I was seeing some negative things about Jackman, saying like he was miscast, you know, in a different movie, like Ana de Armas has just been getting like, this is Brendan Fraser level reactions.
Yeah. And like what I will say is, like, if she does keep in the conversation, like we saw last year, Kristen Stewart somehow managed to keep Spencer at least sort of somewhat alive. Like, it was still at the end of the day in the conversation for score, costumes, stuff like that.
This will be in the conversation for cinematography.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe Ana de Armas's push will be able to drag a couple things along with it. Will that correlate to nominations at the end of the day? Maybe not, but like still in the conversation, which will be interesting.
I don't know. And I think just with NC-17 and how polarizing this might be when it releases on Netflix, and like, you know, with some of the things that are going on within the film, I think it's going to be in the conversation. And I mean, they say, you know, all publicity is good publicity. Like, I think even if people have like problems with the film, whatever, as long as everybody agrees that Ana de Armas is just incredible, I honestly think she could happen for a nomination. She's never going to get close to a win, but she could just slide into like Critics' Choice.
If she's a lot of people's favorite performance at the end of the year, that momentum could very well be enough to see her through. I mean, you've also got stuff like Kate Blanchett as well, which there's a good chance she's everyone's favorite.
She isn't going to get nominated everywhere at precursors. Like, she's going to be very spotty, but I would not be shocked if at the end of the day she just like slides in.
Yeah, and this very much does feel like the Kristen Stewart thing compared to Kate Blanchett, which I can see the argument. Tar seems like the sort of maybe Spencer thing, but everyone seems to like Kate Blanchett. Whereas like this one feels like it's either going to be people's favorite or they're just going to ignore it completely. And it's just about whether there are enough people of who it's their favorite to get her in.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting to see where it shakes out by the end of the year. But
Mm,
I just keep my eye on Anna Armas. I really, really would keep my eye on Anna Armas. So kind of a fitting way to end this Venice coverage with movies getting in the 60s. Like
yeah, yeah. And
just so
movies
many
that are
things
fairly
happening.
poorly received, but acting's great. That feels
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
trend as well
Like
for the festival.
and like I don't know. I just looking at these scores, like people say, Blonde to 63. That isn't gonna be an acting thing. Well, a lot of you are predicting Brendan Fraser to win Best Actor, and that has a 69. So
Yeah,
if the performance has enough love,
yeah. And like Jessica Chastain as well, I'd Tammy Faye. No one really liked that. No one loved that movie, did they?
no,
Really? Let's be honest. So, and that
no,
one.
yeah. So it'll be interesting. I mean, Tammy Faye was a 55. So like
Yeah,
your Metacritic doesn't matter for acting.
yeah.
Like
Plus, also, I feel like a thing we're just sort of glossing over. She is playing Marilyn Monroe, one of
right,
Hollywood's most influential figures. So, I
right,
feel like
right.
that piece of information sort of been a bit
Oh
glossed
yeah,
over. But yeah, that
obviously,
has to be
obviously. So
a
like
thing, isn't it?
Metacritic doesn't really determine if you can get acting nominations. What we're really looking at with Metacritic is like picture, director, screenplay, things like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think The Sun is happening for those. I don't think Empire
No.
of Light's happening for those. Bardo, things like that. And the thing with Bardo is that Cacho was gonna kind of coattail along with it,
Yes. Yeah.
whereas with this, and Armas was always going to be the first thing in.
Yeah. And same with sort of Empire of Light. Like
Yeah.
Coleman and Walker can get in without that film doing
Yep. Just like
picture
I think
directing.
Jackman and some of this, even though I don't have them in right now, I think the supporting actresses can potentially get in for The Sun.
Yeah. Maybe
And
I do think that is slightly more. Jackman may have to ride a bit off of the film, but
I would
like
agree.
I still think he should be strong enough just by name recognition alone to get in. But
Yeah, for sure.
whereas I think Dern and Kirby would be more okay. You're riding off the film.
Yep, I would agree. But any final thoughts?
No, it's exciting. Venice is ending, but
Yeah,
TIFF is on the horizon. So
yeah.
you don't
As
have
of
to wait
recording
too long
this,
for more
TIFF
festivals.
just started today. So, and then we have
Indeed,
Venice
so
Awards over the weekend.
yeah, it's been very fun covering Venice. I've enjoyed
On to
it
TIFF.
a lot. On to TIFF now. Yeah,
On to Toronto.
yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
The
Well, thank
season
you
never
everybody for
stops.
watching. Stay tuned for our Venice Awards reactions and just Venice overall breakdown for both Venice and Telluride. And stay tuned for TIFF coverage. That's going to be
Yes,
starting tomorrow.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Rolling right in.
Favorites, here we come.
Rolling right in. So, thank you everybody for watching. Stay safe, everybody. Goodbye. Keep an eye out for more.